Good morning, everyone. I am Crystal, and I am part of the team here at Syncro. Welcome to Open Office Hours. I would let the ladies introduce themselves.
Hey, everybody. It's Tatiana. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brandy, part of the team here. Nice to see you guys.
Hi, everyone. It's Hannah. Nice to see you, everyone.
Yes, happy Friday, everyone. I hope your week has been awesome. For those of you that are joining us for Open Office Hours and this is your first time, welcome. We're so happy to have you. We love doing these. This is really a place where any questions you have throughout your entire Synchro journey, you can come to these every Friday if you'd like to continue your training, whether you're just looking at Synchro or you've been using it for a year, you're welcome. We use the Q&A, so if you see any of us kind of like glancing over at a different screen or anything like that, we are just scanning that Q&A. And then in addition to that, so in chat, I will disable that usually just because that is hard for us to manage both, but we will use chat as a group, just so that if we have KB articles and things like that, that we will send to you all. Make sure that you click on those links before we end the session or it will go away. Also, I am recording these sessions and usually they get either posted same day or on Monday. And today we're super excited. We've been doing this kind of in a series format, but we have another member of our technical support team joining us today. So Doug, if you are there, if you want to show on camera and introduce yourselves and let us know what you do for our team here.
Good morning, everyone. If it's morning for you, it's afternoon for me. So my name is Doug, and I have been a part of Servably for about a year. And I was on the repair shopper tech support team for about 10 months. And I've been with Syncro technical support for about 2 months now. So I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Yes, we're so happy to have you here, Doug. Thank you very much. You're a valuable member of the team. We are so happy to have you. And so, yeah, so everyone out here, again, whether you've been here multiple times or this is your first time, we do just pop any question that you have in the Q&A. We'll go through, and as a team, just for us internally, we just hit the answer live button when we want to answer a question. We kind of go in order for who claims to answer those questions. So if we don't know the answers, we will tell you. We're very honest and transparent, and we will also, work with technical support if there are things that we're not able to answer for you today. So welcome, and pop your questions in the Q&A. Go ahead, Brandy.
Awesome. Jeremy's starting us off today. An easy one for us. I hope it is. I don't know. When creating a customer custom field, I once had the option to select icons for drop-down items, but now don't. Are you only giving that option for the first or only one drop-down item? Really good question. And I actually think I read this different whenever I grabbed it. So for your different drop downs that you have right here, you can absolutely have multiple different options on here. But let me just pop this open. So I do see that I'm able to add 2 different on here, if that's what you're referring to, or if you're referring to like multiple drop down custom fields. So let me just try this real quickly. Test. And I'll add that. Let me just create a custom field. Oh, I can't use test. Okay, 1, 2, 3. How about that? So now we have that. And I thought there was another custom field that we had in here that also had a drop down. So let me just make sure that I can use icons both. Yeah, I'm able to use icons for multiple different custom fields as well as multiple different entries. So if you're not able to do that, unless my account just has something different in it, then I would reach out to support and maybe something's going on there.
Awesome. Thanks, Brandy. I'm going to grab this one from Richard. Question on the auto task importer. Does it import only customer type customers from auto task or all customer types? Is there an option to select specific customers for import in the auto task importer? Auto task importer specifically, I'm fairly certain it brings over all of your customers. I don't think that there's a way to segment that. We are continuing to add updates to our import tools. Like, for example, we have a really great ConnectWise importer tool as well. And we just gave the ability to import ticket boards, and you can actually select which boards you can bring over. So this is a great feature request, and I will pass that along to the team.
Thank you so much, Crystal. I'll grab 2 questions here from Pete. He says, is there an easy way to get back to, excuse me, I have no idea what's going on with my voice. I apologize. But I will answer his question. Pete says, is there an easy way to get back to asset list once you go into a full computer asset for the company itself? So I just double checked. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there is any type of like a back button or anything like that. So the question was if I'm going into an endpoint, I just tab it open separately, but it doesn't look like there's a back link to the full asset list unless you push the back button there, which I know a lot of you don't like to do. So unfortunately this time, either open it in a new tab, or obviously if you just kind of open the assets and RMM section, that would be the easiest way to go there. And then the second question here that I was going to grab from Pete says, can I change the site address information for multiple assets at once? This one is also going to be a feature request. So I was going through, usually you can create a saved asset search, and you can make change, like you can move customers from policy to policy, you can move assets from customer to customer, but unfortunately I don't see an option here for you to be able to update the site and address for a customer. You would have to just use this drop down menu on an asset per asset basis. So those are the ones that I grabbed from the queue. Hopefully that's helpful to you.
Do you want me to go? I can go, Brandy. I don't know. I think I'm looking at the order here, maybe wrong. I was just going to grab this one super quick from Graham. Does Syncro have any integrations where we can perform HIPAA scans or a compliance manager tool for our clients? So while we are HIPAA compliant, we don't necessarily have any specific HIPAA scans. We do have an integration with Compliancy Group though. And I know this is not the same thing, but I thought I would throw this out there that since Syncro is HIPAA compliant, if you would like your business to become HIPAA compliant, we do have that integration with the Compliancy Group in our App Center, which maybe they would have some ideas around that as well, perhaps, but I know there's nothing built in specifically for HIPAA scanning.
Awesome. Thank you, Crystal. A couple things in here. So Tanisha is asking, let's talk time clock functionality. Is there a way to have a tech manually enter their hours instead of using the stop clock feature? And how long do time log entries stay in the system? How do you give individual techs the ability to edit their own time? Okay, so a couple different pieces here. I'm just going to share my screen. There's a lot of different ways that you can log time inside of a ticket. So yes, one is the little timer here, but if you click on view log, you can actually manually enter the actual time that you were there, any notes, as well as choose the labor rate. And then another place is in communication. So maybe your tech was making like a note, a phone call or something like that. You can add minutes spent here instead of the physical time that they were there. And then in terms of like giving your technicians permissions to do different things, if you head over into the admin section and you go in security groups and notification groups, which by the way, if you haven't gone through these yet, each tech can have their own set of security permissions and notification types. So everyone can have the same, or of course you can make them in these different individual techs. So in here, you can come through and you can give them different options from within side of the ticket. So like a ticket timer overview, tickets, they can edit tickets, use ticket charges, things like that. So you can just come in here and you can choose what they have access to, manage time logs, etc. So hopefully that helps. And then I've got another question in here from Christos, so great question. Is there a report to show time per customer per month? We care to log time spent and invoice afterwards via another system and use the report as reference. Yes, there's a lot actually. I clicked into 3 that I could think of right off the top of my head, but honestly, there's probably a lot more. So one is the executive summary report builder, which guys, this is awesome. If you go into the admin section, you can customize your different views. You can choose if it's going to be text, if it's going to show up as like a chart or graph. So this is going to be one of them. You can quickly see, okay, this is how many hours that I've spent. Another one that you can use is going to be the customer detail report. So this one does show your hours spent, so you can see that here, and of course you can always choose a certain time. And Christos, in your situation, you might want to schedule these reports just so you don't have to come generate them on a month-to-month basis. You can come in here and schedule them if you'd like to do that too. And then another one that I found is the pending ticket charges. So this one you can come in and choose, month to date, and then if you scroll down to the bottom, it's also going to total that for you. So hopefully that helps. Those are just 3 off the top of my head, but there's a lot of reports in there that will show time.
Super helpful. Thank you so much, Brandy. Thanks for your tip, Justin. I tried that and hopefully the sound is coming through clear for you guys now. I have a question here from Anonymous. Is there any way that you can see the patch name in the report instead of just a KB number in the list? Too much going back and forth. So I'm going to share my screen, and if you guys are not aware, I'll show you guys what is being referred to here. So there's 3 reports that will, or 3 sections to look at KBs and the different names or the different KB numbers. I do agree. Maybe if we can add a column here, specifically if you're on the asset level here, this is what would show the KB number. The title is listed here, when it was installed. So this is probably going to give you the most granular view of what the KB actually is with a quick description. So I think what you're referring to is either of the 2 other reports that I'll show here real quick. If you guys head over to more reports, and under the RMM section, we have the missing patches by KB report, as well as the vulnerable systems report. So the first one here, yes, I agree with you. It would be cool to have like a separate column here that shows a quick description or more details about the KB. But this is where, if you're looking to push KBs in bulk, this is how you would do that. Is you would know that this KB, let's say it's missing across a bunch of assets, and you've tested these 3, you're good to go. You can select all and push all of those in bulk. Super helpful there. And then the second report, it does show the categories here, so hopefully that'll give you a little bit more direction. But this second report is the inverse of that first one. It shows you instead which asset is missing how many KBs. So again, in this list, super helpful as well. You can see, okay, something weird's going on. This one's missing 15. What's going on? Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the asset, tab over to the Windows patches, and then you can see those details in bulk. So hopefully that is helpful to you. That's all I have for now.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to share my screen here really quick. I'm going to show you guys this, the employee performance report. There was just a question from Jared in regards to like what the account means or percent of personal total, that sort of thing. So I was just going to grab this. This is our demo account, so it's kind of probably a little bit skewed, but what you can see here is like for the demo engineer, I'm using this one because that's what we use for our demo. So it's probably the most populated, but the count is literally just like for comments for specifically, it's how many comments did they add that was a diagnosis comment, an initial issue, or so it's just counting exactly how many comments they did and then the percent of the total of that. And then percent of location total. This one I'm going to have to look into because I actually, unless any of you guys know this, I don't have a specific answer for you on that one. So please feel free to unmute and chime in if I'm missing something. I think that's the one I would have to find out. So I'll double check on that one, Jared. Great question. And then I think I grabbed another one in here. Oh yeah, Justin, asking about, since we don't offer like an official training instance, how long can we give you a trial for testing purposes outside of your production account? Obviously this is something it comes up often. you know, there'll be times where if you're testing out creating an integration or something like that, you have a paid account and you just didn't necessarily want to test out a full production integration with using the API or something on your production account, you know, we can see the use case of that. But we do monitor these very closely just to make sure that they're not being abused, essentially, adding endpoints and doing all of that stuff from this test account. So we do monitor it. It does have to go through specific, like if you went through technical support to see if you could get a trial extension, again, that would probably end up coming through me for me to get the use case of why you're doing that. So kind of a long answer. It's kind of case by case.
Thank you so much, Crystal. I have a question here from Mel. Question is, how do I activate Bitdefender EDR module? So this would actually be done, I believe, through the Bitdefender Full Gravity Zone portal. So I will share my screen and I'll show you guys where to find more information about it. It's actually going to be just right in the App Center. And if you head over to the Bitdefender app card, and if you scroll down just a little bit, it's going to be listed here. So this is the EDR module. It kind of shows you a quick overview. I'm also going to drop into the chat box the details of exactly what is included in the EDR module, and I'll share that for you guys as well. So go ahead and take a look at that if you want more details. And it looks like I have the next question in here as well. Next one is from Jerry. He says, how can we set up an email notification to the customer when a ticket is closed? Mailer seems more like a marketing thing. I'm looking for something that is like an update email saying that the ticket has been closed. In ticket automations, it seems that resolved tickets cannot have automations. Yes, you are correct. I do have a way around this for you, and I hope it'll be helpful to you. So you're correct. If you go over to the admin section, for those of you guys that haven't seen this yet, and you open up your ticket automations under your ticket section, in this is the area where you can set up ticket automations. If this happens to this ticket, I would like it to update to a different status or whatever it might be. So you are correct. You cannot put a ticket status in here. This automation will not run if the trigger here is resolved. So you can't say it's resolved. So if the ticket status is resolved, then I want it to email the customer and say, hey, thanks so much for your ticket. Everything is good to go, or whatever details you want to put in there. So what I would recommend actually is it's to create like a two-step process, because you could create custom ticket statuses within Synchro. So in your ticket preferences, if you open that in a new tab, you could create a custom ticket status, and you can say like just a different word that does not include resolved in it. So like finished or work complete or something like that. So you could have that be one ticket automation and say ticket status is work complete, and then email the customer. And then you can also say, then if the ticket status is now updated to that, then you could have the finished result here be ticket status is resolved. So it can end on resolved. It just cannot be here up here in this section. So hopefully that is helpful to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Tatiana. I think I'm next here. So James is asking, tracking hours, how to create a bucket of time for each client and then have time charged pull from that bucket each month. I currently have a bucket of time under each customer, but when I charge the time, it does not lower the bucket number. So I figured I'm doing something incorrectly. Actually, James, the big piece there, and I'm going to drop, Tatiana did a really nice walkthrough, a deep dive on prepaid hours or block hours when we had one of these sessions on a Friday previously. The only thing there is it's not going to reduce unless you invoice. So until that time is invoiced, it's not going to reduce the hours. So you would want to do that. But I'm sure you have it all set up properly. It's just it needs to be in the invoice status. And then Graham, I'll go ahead and answer your question. So I've seen the integration for Syncro about cloud radio. Can you tell me something about it? So to be transparent, I don't know a ton about it yet, but I'm going to drop the integration site in there for you. So it's going to have an integration in terms of like tickets, service boards, discussions, as well as your clients. So there will be like I guess it'll route like new tickets to the client management for approval. It'll like basically feed pre-categorized tickets directly from the problem reports to specific service boards for you. There's also going to optionally ask like end user for signature for the end user quoting system. It will, for service boards, it's going to like route tickets as needed. It's going to show the status. And this is on the Cloud Radial side. They did build this integration, so it's going to be on their side. And then invoices will show all of the Syncro invoices inside of Cloud Radial. And then there's going to be some things in terms of like a client directory sync and Office 365 sync. So there's a lot of good stuff, and I'll go ahead and pop that in. And if anyone uses it, feel free to chime in and let us know like what you use it for and how it's helped you too.
Awesome. Thank you, Brandy. A couple of questions in here. One related to a previous question from Tanisha. As it is set up now, it shows that techs have access to each other with the ability to change each other's hours. How do you limit each tech to only view and edit their own hours? So I'm just going to share my screen along with what Brandy shared earlier, that in the admin section under those particular security groups, that then there's only going to be a few options that you do have to where it's specified for there. And so I'm just going to jump into there to show you those. So if we want to go ahead and add a new group and check out all of the ones that are available on the tickets, there's going to be specific ones for there. So for example, for ticket comments, delete their specific comments. And then likewise on tickets to view their ticket details, the ones that are only assigned to them. So currently those are the only specifications that can be assigned for their specific ones on those tickets. And then I had one more question. There is a question from Garrett. Sanity check. Did there used to be a checkbox to send invoice reminders and now it's open invoice reminders under its own invoice preferences? I went to find the check mark and found that it's an automation now. Is open invoice reminders a relatively new release that I missed? Finally turning this feature on. Awesome, Garrett. I'm glad you're getting that on. I'll go ahead and show everyone where that's at. So I'm here in the admin section. If you go under invoices, this is actually not a super new release, but you want to go ahead and utilize these because these are awesome to remind those customers that they do have an open invoice. And so when you select open invoice reminder, that then you can create a new automated reminder, and there's a couple ways you can set that up and then even customize that email message for it to go out to those customers. Hope this helps.
Awesome. Thank you, Hannah. I'm going to grab this one from Vaughn. And is it possible to suppress the sending of emails to the customers when converting leads to tickets? We have things like alerts, et cetera, going to our leads section, and most of that traffic that results in a ticket is for our internal documentation only and doesn't need to result in any communication with the customer. So this is a global setting, but I'm just going to share this one with you. If you go to your admin section, ticket preferences, what you're going to see when you hit additional settings is you're going to have a bunch of these different ticket comment and email type of settings. So one thing that I wanted to show here is do not email initial issue by default. We have that selected because a lot of times when you're creating a ticket, there's a couple things. Either the customer is creating a ticket with you and you don't need to send them an email letting them know what they just sent you, or you're creating the ticket and you don't want them to have that initial comment, essentially that initial issue sent to them. In addition to that, you can have it not send additional comments by default. So you can actually just be doing either, public comments and things like that and add that to the ticket as often as you want, and really only within the ticket manually click to send that email to your customer. So again, this isn't on a per customer basis. This is global. So if this is kind of part of your workflow, I would kind of dive into these settings here, just to make sure that, again, communication is great with your customer, but yeah, if you feel like you're over communicating and communicating things that they don't need to know, this is the section I would kind of head over to.
I'll grab this feature request from Justin. This made me crack up, so thank you for sending this in. He says, can you update my Syncro instance to show that over 1 million was invoiced last year? Thanks. So yes, I mean, you can do it yourself. You can invoice whoever you want for $1 million, and there you go. But from the Syncro side, we are here to help you guys make more money. I'm going to drop over into the chat box some marketing resources that we built for you guys. And as you know, a lot of our features that we build and we prioritize are there to either make you more money or make you more efficient. So definitely keep sending in those feature requests. I love that one in particular, and I'll drop those marketing resources for you as well.
And the goal is to get you to that point, right? Make
yeah.
more money with Syncro.
Heck yeah. We want to hear how you did it too. We want like the full, like we want you to journal this and tell us how you got there.
Yep.
And then real quick, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, yep, and then we'll have you join us for open office hours and you can show us how you did it.
And I was going to just make a point while we don't really have questions in here. I know we talk a lot about like questions that you guys have and advice and things like that, but we also would love to like celebrate with you guys as new things happen. I've had some people email me. It doesn't happen enough. I know you guys are doing really awesome things, but share it with us. Let us know in open office hours, hey, just landed my biggest client, or and you can just drop that in, you know, let us know. And you could shoot one of us an email too. Any type of successes you have, we would love to hear about those so we can share it with our community.
I love that, Brandy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, thank you. And I see Doug wrote in on this one. So thank you very much, Doug. I just want to say this one out loud. Is it possible to restrict login to portal only to specific IPs? I do not want anyone to log into our portal outside of a company network. So Doug's response, absolutely correct. When it comes to the customer portal, we don't have that availability to restrict IPs for the customer portal. However, we do have the ability to restrict specific IPs to your instance. So like your employees. And so if I may, it's so funny because I'll be super honest. This is going to be one of those like live demo things because I can never remember where this setting is because I thought it used to be in RMM settings. If it's not here, please tell me. If it's under the user, I can't remember. Oh, okay. No, not that one. Is it under the user, guys? Is that where it is? Is it user preferences?
For the thumbnail?
No, for the to restrict IP addresses to the company's logins.
Employee settings.
What's that?
Employee settings.
Oh, okay. That's where I was like, I know that I forget it like every single time. Where? Where are employee settings? Oh, up here. Got it. So from here, this is where you can list out the allowed IPs for technicians to use to log in. So if you want that to be only your network IP, like you don't want them logging in from their home IP or something like that, this is where you would enable that. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, Justin has a question. Sorry for a question on a feature that's hot off the press. Do you know if there's any way to get the system to calculate the billing status on tickets that already existed in the system when the feature went live yesterday? I was so excited for this new feature. That's awesome, Justin. I updated my Ready for Invoicing ticket filter to use this new field and show me only the partially invoiced and invoice required billing statuses. And I noticed a bunch of things that should have come up weren't. That's when I realized no tickets from before yesterday has anything in the billing status field. And so Justin, just to answer your question, that the new billing status field will remain empty for all previous tickets and only start populating for all newly created tickets or old tickets that are invoiced after the update takes hold. And then just to show everybody what Justin is referencing, that we do have a new feature on tickets themselves. I'll just pop into one here. Oops, sorry, my internet is going slow. Where on the ticket itself, it has a billing status where then it could go ahead and say invoiced or partially invoiced, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. There's a few other in here. But before we grab a couple questions, I did have a poll I was going to launch for anyone in here, just because out of curiosity, I want to, let's see, that's not the poll. I want to know this one. I'm going to launch this poll. Please feel free to fill this out. It doesn't matter. I really, if you are, again, it doesn't matter if you're fresh into synchro, not even using synchro, or you've been using synchro for a long time. I'm actually just really curious about how you bill your customers. Obviously there's like an other option, but what we hear most commonly is you're either billing per endpoint plus time and material, you know, so obviously I tried to list out as many of like the different combinations that we often hear. So if you don't mind filling out this poll, we are always really curious to see if there's trends or how people are doing it today and that kind of thing. And so that'd be really helpful if you could fill that out for us. Thank you.
And with that too, we do get a lot of questions from you guys, which is kind of where this stemmed from. Is a lot of people are new MSPs and they want to know how people are billing. So it does help us to share with others who are asking, and who knows, maybe in the future you have a question too that you're curious about from other MSPs, and maybe you're not part of the Facebook group or the subreddit. So we're happy to help in any way. And if anyone wants to know how majority of people are sharing, maybe we can share those results with people too.
Yeah, super helpful. Question here from Anonymous. Is there an update coming for the mobile apps? Seems needs some performance adjustments. I think the latest, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the latest update to the mobile app was having chat built in. But beyond that, I haven't heard anything specific. So if there's something that you're looking for, that's an absolute must-have for you, that's going to make you more efficient, save you time, please do reach out to our support team so that they can pass that along to our development team. It's help@synchromsp.com.
All right. Hey, Doug, did you want to grab this one from Vaughn? You're up.
Yeah, I was running a test while you were talking and created a ticket with a zero charge item on a ticket, and it doesn't say non-billable, it says invoice required. So it doesn't seem to change the ticket status to non-billable. It still says invoice required when I did that. So
Awesome. Thanks for running that test. And I think that would be, you know, obviously anytime we release a new feature, there's, you know, maybe some things that we could add to make it even better. So if, you know, if that's kind of one of those quality of life things for you, Vaughn, definitely, we're hearing it right now and we can pass that along to the team as well.
Awesome. Thank you. I've got a couple in here I'll go ahead and grab. So Mark has a feature request. How about a search on the settings page? I like that because as we were looking for like employee settings in the admin section, I'm assuming you're referring to remember all of the different tabs. Yeah, that would absolutely be really nice to search there for labor logs or categories, things like that. And then we have a question about the Mac agent. We don't have an ETA on this, but I can confirm that it's very, very high priority for this year. I do believe that it was mentioned in our fireside chat that we had recently in December. I believe it's hard to believe that was already a month ago, but super high on that priority list. So we should have some updates soon for you guys. And then Tanisha's asking, where do I locate the labor log and communications tab you showed earlier? So good question. Let me just I don't know why I can't move. There we go. Let me just share my screen with you. Where you're going to find this is just inside of a ticket. So if you open up any ticket, you're going to be able to see the different ways that you can log time. So let me just open any of these here. You've got your timer right above that. Like if you click on view log, that's actually the labor log where you would enter the time. And then communications is right down here below the asset if there is one here. And you can just log your minutes there.
Awesome, awesome. I think next question from Christos. Is there any plans to integrate with Zoho Books or Zoho CRM? I have not heard of any. I know that if you are moving from a different accounting platform, and you are looking to use Syncro for invoicing, we can import invoices via CSV. You can reach out to our support team and they can assist with that. And then for accounting purposes, we do currently integrate with QuickBooks Online Desktop and Xero, and we do recommend QuickBooks Online or Xero for those of you that are considering making the switch. But beyond that, I haven't heard of any concrete integration plans with Zoho Books or Zoho CRM at this time.
Awesome. Thanks, Tatiana. I'm going to grab this one from Garrett. Pros and cons, advantages of using built-in subscription pages versus WooCommerce integration for selling residential MSP online. So I'll just say the built-in subscription pages, this is a feature that we would like to build out more. Actually, it's not even really fully, I don't think, supported. Like there's not a knowledge base article teaching, anything like that. So at this point, setting up WooCommerce makes a lot of sense to me. Just because WooCommerce, that's what they do. It's established way of setting that up. So I would say, honestly, at this point, WooCommerce would probably be the way to go, because we would need to put some dev work into our subscription pages to make that like fully functioning for you all in a proper way. So that would be my recommendation.
Thanks, Crystal. Justin, what is the issues or to-do that's popping up in the lower left? Is that something just internally for us? It's just for us. No, I'll show you what he's talking about. We do get this question quite often on open office hours. So down here, I have this little to-do list. This is actually not something that you can make like a to-do list or anything. It does just pop up if there's an issue, if there's an actionable error or something that didn't run successfully. So you'll see like too many emails or my Xero authentication failed. So not a to-do list that you can make, but just going to pop up if there's an issue.
Thanks for that reminder, Brandy. I'm always like, I feel like I know the answer to that one, but it's like, but like sometimes people don't ask about it for a couple months and I'm like, hold on, that is pretty cool. What is it for again? So I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Next question here is, so I was looking, I'm so sorry, you guys. I've been sick for a little while, so I apologize for the sound of my voice. Question is, so I was looking for other ways a tech can manually enter their billable time instead of using the stop clock. There may not be a ticket every time. So this is a really good thing to point out. I'm going to share my screen. I'll show you guys a couple things here, because from the Syncro side, we do there is no free floating ticket, or I'm sorry, there is no free floating timer. Time does have to be attached to a specific ticket. So on a ticket, there's 4 different ways you can track the time. So if you or your techs prefer to, like, maybe you don't like using the ticket timer, the start stop, I'll show you the 3 other ways that you can track time. Another way to do it is here in the communication section. So if you train your techs to do it this way, what I like about using the communication section here is no matter what kind of notes that they're leaving, there's a setting in the ticket preferences where you can make sure that they are required to enter the time spent before they submit a ticket, before they submit. Here are the notes that I need to leave. This is the kind of work that I was doing. This is how long, whether I'm billing for it, and you can automatically update the status of the ticket all in one fell swoop, just in this one section in here. So this is, I know, a really popular way to track time as well, is just to manually enter it in here, and you can label it as required too. The third way to track time is here. If you view the labor log and you click into here, you can manually enter time just like this. I see people using this for on-site labor. So they'll say, you know what, I'm going on site for a couple hours. I'm just going to leave some notes, and then you basically don't have to think about it moving forward from there. Another tip here is, while we're looking at the labor log, a lot of people say, well, once it's entered, I can't edit it. How do I edit it? Do I have to delete and then redo? You do not, you just clear the charge. And then now you can say, well, instead of 240 minutes, it was, I don't know, 360 or whatever it might be. And then save it, and then just make sure you charge that time again. So that's the third way to charge time. Fourth way is just to add a a product in here. So if labor is a product for you, or a service that you're offering in your products and services section, you can enter, it's not really entering time, but it is a way for you to keep track of it and bill for it as well if you're not looking to use the timer specifically. So again, there are no free floating timers. Time does have to be attributed to a ticket, and hopefully that kind of points you in the right direction, gives you a couple different options to choose from as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Tatiana. Now, let's see. Graham, can you tell me something about automated remediation for synchro alerts for hard drives? Yes, absolutely. Oh, it looks like I'm not able to share.
I would love to stop sharing, but my Zoom is crashing as well, so I might have to hop off and hop back in. So I apologize. One sec.
Okay.
I think I might be able to do it. Hold on. There. Now, oh. Every time I can share my screen, I think, but I can't.
Can you kick Tatiana out? Or is she out?
I think she's out. Can you see my?
No, she's in. She's still showing that she's in the meeting.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
So it's her screen. I don't know if you can kick people out.
Yes, I can. Okay, there you go.
Perfect. All right. Automated remediations for low hard drive. So this is found in the assets and RMM tab, and you'll click on actions. If you have not played around with automated remediations, and I swear on every demo, no matter how much time you've spent in the platform, a lot of people haven't quite gotten to this part, but this is going to act like you have another technician. If you're a one-man shop, have 2. If you're a 4-man shop, now you have 5. So you can come in here and set up these automated remediations however you would like to. You might say, okay, my trigger category is going to be low hard drive space. So that's going to be the first step for what you're referring to. Now, if you do set up your policies as a good, better, best, okay, I'm only going to do this for those who have my platinum policy. You could do that, or even a certain customer, but it's going to leave it at low hard drive space. Now we can go ahead and choose to run the following actions. So let's go ahead and convert this into ticket so we're able to make money or log time. And then the next step is going to be, let's run a script. Let's go ahead and self-remediate this. Now, my list here might be longer than yours because I've imported these from the community script library. So if you haven't gotten to that point yet, you might only have 4 or 5 here, but I can go ahead and clean temp files. I could then email the customer if I wanted to, and you can use these template tags, which is really nice to go ahead and craft that message and go ahead and clear the alert. So you've already remediated the problem before the customer even knows that there was ever an issue. Also using our scripting engine, by running this script, I could have logged 30 minutes of time in a ticket because we have that great PowerShell module at the bottom of the scripts, so you're able to edit those. But that's how I would set this up for low hard drive space. Again, you can set it up for a ton of different RMM alerts or other things that are going on too. Hopefully that helps.
Shall I go? Okay. Christos wants to know, can we have our signature predefined in all ticket replies? Also, is there a plan to allow ticket attachments while reply instead attach and then go back to the editor to load them? Okay, so a couple things. Let me share my screen. I wanted to show you, and I think this is really funny because obviously we've answered this question before. So if you go to your user here, you can create your bio here, as any user can do this, and then you can use this as a tag in the actual ticket response, and it will enter whatever you put in your bio here. So hopefully that helps. And then in regards to the second part, I know that we are going to be working on different things in tickets and communications. I don't necessarily have a time frame for like different options for attachments and that kind of thing, but I know that that's something that's on the radar for sure. And then I think this is just a follow-up for Vin saying the IP-based restriction, I want my employees to log from work IP only. Then yeah, so in that case, that's where we were talking about that I always fumble around into where this setting actually is. And I think it's funny because now it's in employee settings. And then this is where you'd put your company's IP address so that your technicians can only log in from your company's IP. And then I think the last one that I grabbed here was from Roger, a little bit late to the session today. There has not been any there's not been any update on backup. We're still hoping to see that here in January, but I don't have an update on it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Crystal. I'm going to stay video off because my Zoom is having technical difficulties today, so I apologize for that. So question here is from Vaughn. Can we add a time automatically to remediated actions? I'm going to share my screen, and there is a way to do it, but you kind of have to do it through a script, which is beneficial in multiple different ways. So when Brandy was walking through automated remediation, she did a great job. I won't cover the things that she did because that was just a couple of minutes ago. But here, the biggest point is if you wanted to add time to a automated remediation, you would need to include a command in that script. And we do have something available for you here in our PowerShell module that we provide for you that you can add to any script. So if you go over to your scripting section, and whether you're writing a new script or you're editing one that you've imported from the community library, if you scroll down just a bit and you're using PowerShell, you have the ability here to import the PowerShell module. And as some of the commands in here, you can say, as part of the script, I also want Synchro to create a ticket for me. I want it to add time to the ticket, specify how much time, specify if you want to charge the time or not, depending on the type of billing you have set up for your customer, clear the RMM alert, automatically close the ticket. So you would put these actions into this script up here instead of having a run script, clear alert, convert into ticket. So it just depends on the route that you want to go. If you're looking to charge the time, I would pack it all into the script. If you're looking to convert into a ticket with a predefined subject status, if you want to pull in a worksheet, then I would go that second route instead. So hopefully that is helpful to you there, Vaughn. Let me know if you have additional questions. Next question is from James. SNMP OIDs, is there a community repository of OID templates like you have for scripts? Yes, I did share that with you guys in the chat box, so check that out. And then the last question here is from Graham. Is there a way I can import all scripts from the community in one go? There isn't a way to do that, and I wouldn't recommend doing that just so you kind of are only using scripts that are actually helpful and useful to you. There's 2 tips that I have for you here. Is if you go over to your community library, there is a way to filter by imports. So this is my best tip in this section, is see what everybody else is using, what's popular, why are they using it, go through the descriptions and just import the ones that you need. So that would be my first tip there, is just kind of going through and seeing what's at the top of the list and kind of picking and choosing what you want. Because to answer your question directly, there isn't a way to just click select all, import all. The other thing is if you do import a lot of them, you can also in any script, you can choose to mark it as favorite. And so that also gives you quick access. If you say mark as favorite, you have the ability here, whether you're within the assets and RMM section, whether you're within a ticket and you want to run a script straight from a ticket. If you use the quick view modal, you have the ability here for quick access to those favorites instead of running through your entire list of scripts. So that is what I have to share with you there.
Awesome. Thank you, Tatiana. That was great. A question from James. I bill at 15-minute increments. Can I change the timer to 15-minute chunks instead of minutes? I'm just going to share my screen here just to reference what he is speaking about, and then we'll go through where to set that up. So the timer itself cannot be changed to only show 15-minute increments. However, you can charge to where the minutes will round up to a 15-minute increment. Where you do that is in the admin section under ticket preferences. And then they're actually going to be in the advanced preferences. And so as we go down here to the bottom, additional settings is where you'll find that. And I recommend that everybody check these out. That way you have selected what you need to. And then there's going to be one option, just so you do know, ticket timer charged by default if you want to automatically have time charged to the ticket, but there'll also be a round up for your ticket timer. And so the one you're looking for is the one for 15 minutes. Hope that helps.
Thanks, Hannah. Cliff, we're not skipping your question. I think we're trying to make sure we answer properly. I'm going to read this out loud. I'm going to throw some things out there that might not be answering your question. And if there's anyone in the group that does know this, please let us know. Question about PowerShell and Synchro. I'm randomizing the local admin password and want to save it in an asset custom field. If it's text, it works. If it's a password secret custom field, it does not. I can't find any reference to programmatically storing data in a secret custom field. Set asset field, subdomain, synchro subdomain. Okay, so again, if anyone is a professional at scripting and knows this right off the top of your head, please let us know. But otherwise, what I just want to make sure, because I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show some stuff. Again, not an MSP. I would not be able to write a script, but what I do know is that when you're in your scripting module and you're creating a new script, and maybe I'm having internet issues also, but if I create a new script here, we've always had script variables. So your PowerShell module, like you're saying, can read or write to those scripts. But what we did recently do was add a variable type as password. I'm assuming you're already using that and running into an issue even when you're doing that. But so you also have, again, set asset field name and that sort of thing. And but this is where I would immediately point you to if you haven't, because we actually just added the password type variable. So again, just throwing that out there. I'm very sorry if that's not answering your question. I will still try to find if there is an additional information on that. We weren't ignoring, Cliff. You just gave us a doozy. So hopefully that helps.
Crystal, I just got some information from someone else on the team that said that's not supported, and we can't enter values into password custom fields with scripts.
Perfect. Thank you.
I have one question I was going to answer for Vaughn, and if that's okay.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, his question was, what kind of customization can be done on an invoice? We came from a system where there is one charge per labor category on a ticket. All of the charges were summed into that one charge. It seems from the testing we've done so far in Synchro that each time charged gets a line on the invoice, which is true. Can we customize text or change how any of this works in Synchro? I'm going to share my screen if that's okay. Let's see here. Screen 2. All right. Can you see it? Oh, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Make sure I got this correct. Okay. So in invoices, labor would show up as a labor item. You can change the description of the particular line item to define what it is, specifically what type of labor it is, but you can't change the item name labor because that is specific to the type of item it is. If you go to the item itself, it's the category of labor. You can't change that. You can change the name here to something. So you can then go back to the invoice itself. Oh, let me see here. Did that work? Name. So you can change the name of the item, but it has to stay in the category of labor to be a labor item. When you create tickets, and I believe that what they're asking is your time charge. If you go to a ticket and add a time charge, let me see here. So if you go to like here, view log. So let's say you add time for here and you charge the time. It's true, and then convert it to make it an invoice. and then it shows on the ticket as, again, this is the new name I created, and it shows a description of the time, and that's how that would work. That makes sense?
Yes, that's awesome. And I think just with that too, because I think like full cycle using your inventory items to, have your description and that kind of thing. The other thing that it's worth just showing, and I think it's interesting because I think we get this question probably almost every open office hour. So I will just show it, and I've got things all over my screen. But if you go to the admin section, if you want to specifically customize what actually is in each of those labor line items when you're logging time, you can go to ticket preferences here. And in addition, you can go to additional settings, and you do have the ability to customize actually what's like customize text for ticket timer charges, for example. So you could, we have this little tool tip here. And if you scroll down to ticket timer tabs, you can see, so you can like plug and play so that your technicians don't actually have to like update that, and it can look very similar on all of your invoices, so everything looks very cohesive too. So just letting you know, those are the ticket timer tags available also. Hopefully that helps.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Okay, next question. Mark, is there a log somewhere of when a status of a ticket changes? For example, if I change it from new to in progress, is there somewhere that says when that change occurred? So yes, actually, if you just open up any ticket at the very bottom, you'll see view history, and only the admin on the account would be able to see this, but it'll be timestamped for you, and it'll also let you know the changes that occurred. So if you updated anything, then you'll be able to see all of that information in here. Hopefully that helps you. And then I think I had another one in here. Oh, Heinrich. So we did not give an ETA on the new backup system. Any day. Your guess is as good as mine, but soon.
Thank you so much, Brandy. Question from Heidi. Is there a way to add time to a ticket that is not billable? Sometimes we have a time entry that we don't want to show on a bill, and we don't want it in a waiting to be billed status. So yes, what I would recommend there is just clearing the charge in that case. So I'll show you two things here real quick, and I'm going to try to go fast because I know we only have 4 minutes left. So first things first is on any ticket, you have the ability here in your labor log, which is where you are tracking your time. You can choose if that time entry is going to be billed or not. So for example, out of all of these, I'm going to go ahead and let's just go ahead and clear 2 of them. You'll notice that when you clear the charge, the time is still remaining. What clearing the charge does means that you are not going to bill your customer for that time, even though you're tracking it for internal purposes. So these 2 line items would not carry over to the actual invoice for the customer. So 360 minutes, 60 minutes, you'll see if we go to add or view charges, those are not going to be listed here. These are the other 2 random items that I entered previously. So to answer your question, if you don't want your customer to see the time that you spent because you're not billing for it, just go ahead and clear the charge. Another important point here to make real quick is in the ticket settings, additional settings, you have the ability in here to make sure if you want to charge time by default or not. So again, charging the time means that it will show up on the invoice and it will be billed for. And if you have that not selected, it means you can still track time, you're just not going to bill your customer for it. So hopefully that brings some clarity to you there. And then Vaughn, really good follow-up question. Thank you so much for sending that in. So to clarify, as mentioned previously, the 2 options that I mentioned to you are going to be completely separate. So I would say choose either or. He said, if we do run a script, then that creates a ticket, and then run a separate script that actually fixes the problem and then adds the time, there's going to be 2 separate tickets created, and you're right. So I would say just choose one or the other depending on what your priorities are. So you could have one remediation that in this script right here where you say run script and you choose whatever the script might be, as part of the script, you could have those commands that I showed you that says create a ticket, add time, clear alert, and then that's it. You basically don't have to do anything else. The script takes care of creating that ticket for you. So that would be option number 1, completely separate from the version that Brandy showed you, where it's run a script, then clear the alert, then open a ticket, and you just get more options. You get to add time with the first option. With the second option, you get to pre-fill the subject status, comments, pull in worksheets, different things like that. So hopefully that brings a little bit more clarity for you there.
You got this one, Doug?
I'll answer this question. Yes, I'll answer this question quickly. I'm going to share my screen. With advanced, well, with ticket searches, you do have advanced searches available here to look for the tickets, whether they're resolved in different categories, different statuses, different issues, different types, and different texts. And I honestly don't know the answer to this particular question. Maybe someone here does, in terms of if it searches any other field besides like other like conversations or anything like that in tickets.
I can chime in here. It does. You can search for contacts, customers, subjects, the technician. So there's a lot of different things, not just subjects.
Okay.
Yep. And I know, and also I just was testing too. If you just like, if you know actually the ticket number, if you search the number, it'll
We were all testing in the back end.
like searching all these things. I like went into one that just said notes. What it doesn't do is it doesn't search comments. I found that out.
Yeah.
It does not search like comments throughout the ticket, that kind of thing. Because notes would have been one that would have been my go-to. Okay, well, it is already, well, it's 10 a.m. here for me. So thank you for another amazing hour of open office hours. Please join us next week at same time, same place. And hopefully you have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you so much for joining us, Doug. We appreciate having you. This was phenomenal. So again, this is recorded. We'll post it later. All right. Thank you all.
Bye guys. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.